Buying a car is one of the biggest financial decisions most people make, but many buyers unknowingly make costly mistakes that could easily be avoided. I'm breaking down the 7 major mistakes people make when buying a car and how you can avoid them to save yourself lots of money. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Brett and I'm a financial coach. Over the years, I've worked with clients who've made incredible financial transformations, but one issue I see over and over is overspending on cars. I know the car business well because I have 14 years of combined experience from previously working in the car and RV sales business. I've seen the mistakes that people make, and as a financial coach, I feel like it's time that I share these with you so that you don't make the same mistakes when you go to purchase your next vehicle. Pay close attention because these tips could save you thousands of dollars. Mistake number 1 is not sticking to a budget for your vehicle purchase. Too often, people shop for cars without a clear budget in mind. Having a clear idea of how much you can actually afford when you shop will save you the most headaches, stress, and money. I see a lot of people get into trouble with their finances because of their car. I get it. Having a vehicle that you're proud of is important to you. But the reality is, if you cannot afford that vehicle, it can soon turn into a huge nightmare. My personal and professional opinion is that the best way to buy a vehicle is to be able to pay for it outright, and you should find any way that you can to do so. But I also know that that option isn't necessarily available for everyone, and that sometimes means financing a vehicle is needed. If you're going to finance a vehicle, it is best to make sure that all of your fixed costs are below 60% of your take-home pay. This would include things like housing, fuel, debt payments, groceries, and your car payment. Let's take a look at this with a simple example with our friend Tom here. Tom is in need of a new vehicle, so he decides he's going to start shopping around. He has a take-home pay of $3,000 a month from his job. Tom does some quick calculations and totals up all of his fixed costs, including housing, debt payments, and necessities like insurance. He finds out that he has a total of $1,500 in fixed costs. His fixed costs now are equal to 50% of his take-home pay. So if he absolutely has to finance his next vehicle, that gives him a 10% margin on his take-home pay, or in this scenario, $300, not including hidden costs, which we're going to get into. Here's the reality that some people choose to ignore, that if you don't set limits, you're likely to overspend. Everything you say yes to, you are saying no to something else. Meaning, if you're saying yes to overspending on your new vehicle, that means you're saying no to something else. What is that thing? For a lot of people, it is saying no to investing for their future, saving for emergencies, and being financially comfortable. So before stepping foot on a car lot, decide how much you're willing and able to spend. Write it down and stick to it. You may have to make changes to the exact vehicle that you were looking for based on your budget, or give yourself more time to save up for it. Mistake number 2 goes along with number 1, and that is focusing only on the monthly payment. Dealers love to make a car seem more affordable by stretching out your loan term to lower the monthly payment. In fact, when I was in the car business, it seemed like most common loans would be around 84 months, which is 7 years, which I still think is too long. Now I've heard that loans are going out as far as 96 or even more months, which may lower the payment, but it also increases the amount of interest that you pay by thousands of dollars, making the vehicle way more costly than it should be. Here's a look at the numbers when you finance a vehicle for longer. Right now, the average rate for a vehicle loan is right around 6.84%, so we're just going to go with 7% as an example. Now, I know that some loans are going to be lower rate, but also some loans are going to be a higher rate, so don't get all worked up about the rate. If you borrowed $30,000 for a standard 60-month loan, your payment would be $594 at 7% interest, and the total interest over the life of the loan would be $5,642, bringing the total cost of the payments to $35,642. Now let's look at that same loan stretched out to 72 months. Your payment would now be $511, but your interest went up over $1,000 to $6,826, bringing the total cost of the loan to $36,826. Now, if you took that same loan and you borrowed it for 84 months, your payment would have dropped to $452, but your interest went up to $8,032, making the total loan $38,032. The longer you borrow on the loan, the more money that you're going to pay on the car. In summary, do not buy a car based on payment alone. In fact, if you can afford to pay in full, then that is 100 times better route to go, and I'll always promote having a paid-off vehicle over having one that's financed. Mistake number 3 is not knowing your credit score before you shop. Your credit score directly affects the interest rate you'll qualify for. A lower score means higher rates, and that can cost you thousands of dollars over the life of the loan like I just talked about. If you'd like to check your credit score, you can do so on websites like creditkarma.com or annualcreditreport.com. Before you start shopping, check your credit score. Know where you stand. If you plan on financing a vehicle and you find out that your score needs some improvement, focus on improving it first. It'll be highly worth it in the long run. Mistake number 4 is trading in without researching your car's value. Dealerships are a business, and as a business, their goal is to make profit. They will often undercut the value of your trade-in to increase their profit. Before you trade in your car, check a website like kellybluebook.com and search around on private party sites to find out what other similar cars are going for. The more you know, the better, as it only helps you negotiate a better deal. The dealer hopes that you'll accept their first offer because it's usually quite lower than your vehicle's actually worth. If you can't get out of it what you want out of it, then it may be worth considering selling the car on your own. I've sold the last few cars of mine on my own because I knew that I could sell them for more than what I would get on trade. It would just take me a little bit of extra work, which I was totally fine with. You can also shop around to places like CarMax that will make you an immediate offer on your trade. When I was selling cars, I had many customers that wanted more for their trade than what the dealer could give them, so they just decided to sell their car on their own. To be honest, I was okay with this because I get it. If you can get more money out of your trade, then why wouldn't you do it? Trading in your vehicle is really more about convenience than money. You trade money for the convenience of not having to sell it on your own. For those that don't mind the inconvenience of selling it on their own, then it makes more sense to not trade it in sometimes. Mistake number 5 is ignoring the total cost of ownership. Here's the deal. The price of the car is not actually the full price of the car. A lot of purchases that you make in life will have additional costs to them that are not outwardly advertised. These are called hidden costs. When it comes to buying a car, there are a lot of hidden costs that you will incur. Think of additional costs like gas mileage. Does it get less mileage than your current car, or will the mileage save you money in comparison? Or the type of fuel it takes. Does it require a higher grade fuel than your current vehicle? There's also the cost of maintenance. I can't tell you the amount of times that I saw someone buy a car that they could afford only to find out that the maintenance costs were so outrageous in comparison to what they thought they would be. Then there's also the cost of insurance. Some vehicles have higher insurance expenses than others. You can also consider the trade value and if you have any negative equity in your trade. Then there's the sales tax, dock fees, and any other back-end products that you may want, which I'll get into in a minute. There are a lot more numbers involved when it comes to buying a vehicle, not just the price or the payment. What I'm saying here is to always run the numbers before making a decision. Think about the total cost of the vehicle. Don't forget about the insurance, maintenance, gas, and fees. These costs add up super fast. Make sure you're factoring them into your decision so you're not caught off guard later. Real quick, if you're finding this video helpful, click that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more money-saving advice. For mistake number 6, we're going to talk about dealer add-ons. There is big money in dealer add-ons. Some of them make sense depending on your situation, like a warranty if it's priced right and actually covers items, or gap insurance if you're financing and you have a trade with negative equity. But in my opinion, some of the other add-ons are legit just not worth it, like any paint or fabric protections. Most of this is literally just cheap spray-on stuff that you could order and do it yourself if you wanted to, but they're charging like $1,000 or more for it. When it comes to any of the back-end products, do your own research and determine what makes sense for you. If you really want something but feel like it's too much money, negotiate the price on it. If you think the warranty is too much, try and get it for less, or shop around for an aftermarket warranty, or even consider if you'll actually keep the car as long as you think you will. Remember that last car you were going to keep forever, but now you're trading it in and it hasn't even been a year yet? Mistake number 7 is letting emotions take over. Emotions can be a car buyer's worst enemy. The job of the salesperson is to get you to fall in love with whatever you're buying. The more you feel like you need it, the more likely you are to buy it and spend more on it. Buying a car is exciting, but it's also a big purchase. Make sure that you do your research. Find the vehicle you want and that the amount that you're paying for it makes sense. Here are a few tips to make your car buying process even smoother. Get pre-approved for a car loan before visiting a dealership. This helps you negotiate better rates or at least know that you have a set option for financing. If you're buying a used car, pay for a trusted mechanic to give it a once-over. Take your time. If you're unsure, sleep on the decision before committing. A car is a huge purchase. Just always make sure that you feel comfortable with what you're getting. Now, if you're struggling with car expenses or any other financial challenges, I can help. In my financial coaching sessions, I work with clients to make smarter money decisions for the life that they want, like choosing the right car for their needs. So let's recap the mistakes to avoid. Number 1, not sticking to a budget. Number 2, focusing only on the monthly payment. Number 3, not knowing your credit score. Number 4, trading in without researching your car's value. Number 5, ignoring the total cost of ownership. Number 6, buying overpriced add-ons. And number 7, getting too emotional in your purchase. Keep these in mind and you'll be miles ahead of most car buyers. What other mistakes do you think people should avoid? Let me know in the comments below and share your tips for buying a car the smart way. Oh, and what's this? A video where I share the insider secrets on how to get the best deal on your next vehicle? You better click on it before it disappears in 3, 2, 1.